IVM.
Hi, I'm Zarina Poonawala, a life coach, a business mentor, and a motivational speaker. I tackle the challenges that come with varied work cultures, and I try to give out some cheat codes for loving your job in the second season of the Empowering series with me, Zarina. This show will feature live sessions with me and a participant, most likely to be an entrepreneur, a startup founder, an employee, a recruiter, or just about anyone who strives to love their job and looks forward to bringing in a positive shift at their workplace.
Hey guys, this is somebody on a podcast with Zarina. Hey Zarina, how are you doing?
Hey somebody, how are you doing?
Not bad.
Okay.
Not bad at all.
Shall we tell the listeners who you are?
If you must.
If I must.
If you absolutely have to. Otherwise, let's just continue and let people guess.
And let it be anonymous?
Let it be completely anonymous, yeah.
So should I give them some guesswork to do?
Yeah.
A non-stereotypical actor?
Who acts in lots of like web series and on the OTT platforms.
But not lots of web series, just about 2, 3 now?
3.
Yeah. See, I'm counting.
Which ones?
Then we're giving out the answer.
Jana.
I'll tell you. Smoke.
Yeah.
Made in Heaven.
Yeah.
Ye Ballet.
Ye Ballet is not a web series.
It's a movie.
It's a movie on Netflix.
I'm sorry then. So then I have to still watch it like I told you.
The third one is Flip.
Flip. I haven't watched it.
Eros Now, another Eros Now one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's an episodic web series that Bijoy Nambiar directed, except for one he didn't direct. Yeah.
But I don't think the listeners have still got who this is.
It's this character. It's this one called Massage.
Okay.
It's great. I play this character that starts off when he's about 24, 25, and he's just at the beginning of everything. And then through an unfortunate situation, he goes into a coma for 20 years. And then he wakes up after a 20-year coma and then has to deal with how life has changed.
That's 20 years coma?
Yeah.
This is Flip.
Yeah, it's called a massage within
massage.
Flip, yeah.
Okay.
So his face has like dysmorphia, and it's based on a real story of this really interesting case where a woman came out of a 20-year coma. She got into a car accident when she was about 17, and now she's like 37. And she's, it's hard for her to really speak, and the people that went in to see her, they'd be like, first she was in a coma for a while, then she started to wake up, and that was even more unsettling than the coma because she just suddenly starts screaming.
Oh my God.
For like hours, she'd just be screaming, and they wouldn't know what to do, and they wouldn't know how to reach her, and they can't wake her up because she's still kind of in the coma. Really wild story about this woman. And
yours was an adaptation of that.
Not an adaptation of that, but the idea of somebody possibly coming out of a coma was based on that. And then Bijoy built a whole world around it. There's like betrayal and intrigue, and we're not sure who's done what. And I think it's really nice to watch.
I'm going to give that a try. It's on Eros Now already.
He sees his daughter after 20 years because his wife was pregnant when he went into the coma, and he's never met her. He's never seen her. And he has to see her. And she doesn't know who he is. He looks, very strange because how stuck he is in the postures. It's fine. It's okay. I like it.
I like the way it sounds.
I like it.
I like it too. Okay. Another hint for the guest. Oh, sorry.
I think they know by now.
Listen.
If they don't know by now, I mean.
But anyway, hello and
They're
welcome to the
never gonna
Empowering
know.
series.
Hey, empowering.
So thank you.
What exactly do you mean by empowering?
We mean inspirational stories, struggles, successes, challenges,
See, because
things people want to share with others.
these days, this whole empowerment thing is like it's like a nice, like pop psychology term. Not to demean it completely, but it's become this like catchphrase, empowerment.
Yes.
Women empowerment. And I think in general, it's more useful, or the only way that I think it's worth talking about. I mean, I don't know about that. Maybe it's always worth talking about, but it seems like for me, it should be a representation of a group of people that have historically been denied power or not been in a position to have any power.
Right.
To empower those people just now seems to be the need of the hour.
Yeah.
But then if we think about my empowerment, it's like, I mean, I'm a fairly well-educated, fair Parsi male whose parents have money. I mean, I'm on the cheat code. You know what I mean? I'm on the level. I'm like, I have the cheat code for the level. Of course, it's going to be easier for me. So talking about my empowerment, automatically I feel a bit uncomfortable just because it's like you already were empowered. I mean, you're playing on the easiest level.
Right.
I am. I'm playing on the easiest level. So to think about all of these things in terms of, what I have achieved through my empowerment, it's like, come on, you were on the fast track already. What's the big deal?
True, but the empowerment we're kind of talking about where you're concerned is...
like personal empowerment?
So it doesn't really matter.
Valuable.
That's always valuable. You know something from your personal story, something from things that you faced, or maybe... You have this unapologetic disposition about you.
Well, yeah, it's easy for me to take that disposition. Now I'm playing on the easiest level. I know that something will...
You don't want to please people. You're not a people pleaser at all.
I mean...
I know.
I can be. I can be.
To.
I think everyone likes to pretend they're not people pleasers because that makes them seem real cool and awesome. But no, I find myself looking back on certain situations where I was like, wow, I acted entirely out of being polite and making sure nobody got upset rather than doing, what my soul wanted, or what my soul is a stretch, what my inner self said. And then you kind of think, okay, well, which one am I? Am I this the person who can be the people pleaser even though the inside is a bit like, I hate this, or, that makes me feel strange, but I'm not ready to deal with that strangeness yet. The way the person has done it has kept it on the edge of maybe it's okay, and I don't know. And I think, how can you really empower yourself in those situations?
Right.
For example, I don't know. How, or is it even necessary too? Is there something to be learned through having been polite and realizing you didn't act in accordance with the way that you wanted to act? Will that actually help a performance you do later more than always being empowered?
True.
Same way just now there's this overall emphasis on be happy, happiness. Embrace your happiness, it's all about your happiness. And it's a bit like, why? If you're happy, you're happy. If you're jealous, you're jealous. If you're sad, you're sad. If you're furious, you're furious.
True.
I know they say the middle ground is the one to strive for, where neither the joys nor the lows affect you as much. And I think that can't be ignoring them, though.
What can't you ignore?
What I mean is, if you're ignoring your low in order to pretend to be...
happy.
No, pretend to be equanimous, let's say, or pretend to be happy, then how can you even deal with it? It's just a lie. How can you even do any of the empowerment or happiness steps if you don't even acknowledge the thing you're actually feeling? So I'm more interested in just acknowledging what I'm feeling and then seeing what happens.
That's the reason why you're on the show, Jim. See, because what you're saying right now is extremely empowering.
So empowering.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where you come from and how comfortable your life has been.
Maybe.
But just the fact that you're actually asking people to acknowledge their emotions as they are and not pretend.
But I'm saying that purely selfishly. That helps me in the long run, It helps me as an actor to know that
Is it just as an actor? I mean, as a person, is that not something that
No, wow,
it
would be so nice if you could be like, oh, I'm jealous. Oh, distraction. Oh, now I'm happy. Instead of oh God, I'm jealous. Oh Jesus, what does this mean? Do I have a low self-esteem? What does this have to do with my thing? Oh, anxiety gets attached to jealousy very fast. Interesting. All of this kind of general.
But then there's a stereotype about everything, and that's exactly what we're trying to break on this show. Making sure that all these words actually
Break
matter.
the stereotypes with Zarina.
I like that. Maybe I should change the name of my show. How does that sound?
Breaking stereotypes. Or
Okay, I like. Right. It's almost like beatboxing now. Yeah, but actually, what you just said, how do you manage to do that successfully? Feel jealous and be okay about it?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm always okay about it.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody is.
No.
But then you accept how you feel.
I mean, yeah, I guess. Or you acknowledge how you feel
You
at least.
acknowledge it, yes.
Then acceptance may be next step.
And having said that, does that affect your work?
Yeah.
In what way?
One, the more you acknowledge how many weirdly complicated feelings pop up at the same time, the more you can try to infuse those feelings into your work in a scene. I don't know if everybody likes that kind of acting, but I do. When I watch a lot of movies, especially Bollywood movies, but other movies as well, international and Hollywood films as well, a lot of the times I feel the actor is just playing the wash of the like main emotion of the scene, you know, and just like clearly following that through. So everybody watching understands exactly what they're feeling at all times. And then when they leave the scene, they're left with a, wow, that person is so strong.
Yeah.
Or wow, that person is bullied, but they clearly have a revenge streak in them, you know, or whatever that kind of general thing. And, you know, at this point I'm basically of the opinion that no, we don't know all the emotions that are going on inside of us, and it's a constant kind of search.
That's right.
And for me, more interesting is to watch somebody not know what's happening to them as it's happening. Have things to say in response, but not know if it's completely right either. Just be saying it, you know. Of course, sometimes you're overwhelmed with emotion and only one main lead emotion is coming out, but I do feel a more overall enriching performance, or a performance that stays with me for longer, is when I'm watching somebody fighting against what they're feeling, as opposed to just leaning into only what they're feeling. Like a completely different scene if somebody comes in and starts crying on the first line,
Right.
as opposed to fights the tears all the way until the end and then only lets it come out right then, you know what I mean? Like, so then you've seen a person fighting against it, which I feel is more noble and more inspiring and more interesting and more true. If you felt like crying right now because I insulted you about something, you'd probably pretend it didn't affect you until I left and you were alone.
Right.
Because you don't want to show the power that I'm having over you so easily, so quickly. For example.
Sure.
Or just social embarrassment. There are 3 other people in the room with cameras on. You might not want to cry in front of them yet. Or, yeah, and then, so it's more like when it happens, it overpowers you, as opposed to it being something you push out of yourself. Which I think is generally the case with emotions. They come and then you label it afterwards, or you understand it afterwards. It comes upon you, based on your genetic code and everything you've done up until this time. You are an emotional intelligence coach, no?
Yeah. I like the fact that you know that. You are, but I was going to actually say you speak from a place.
Remember when you told me
I know.
That's how I know.
I remember.
You think I'm going to do this acting thing? I know this about you. She told me.
Oh, yeah, of course I did. But I want to know this. Does this, what you're saying about yourself right now, come from your psychology degree?
Oh my God, my psychology.
Yeah.
I'm sure that had some effect. I'm sure that had some. I'm sure, of course.
So
it
you
has
enjoyed,
It's 4 years of psychology.
You enjoyed psychology.
I enjoyed it a lot, yeah.
Does this come from your place of psychology, the degree that you've actually
it has to have.
earned? Yeah. And what about it? Tell us about
that must have had its effect as well. I think
4 years of psychology.
acting. Yeah, I think I liked acting always. I think psychology was another thing that I liked that could shed light upon this acting thing.
Okay.
Or just storytelling in general. But yeah, I think I prefer acting. I like directing as well. I just haven't directed in ages. And the last time I directed something, it was associated with this really emotional event.
Okay.
A friend of mine got killed in the States.
Oh, I'm
right
sorry.
as it was happening. One of my best friends. So I think the two have become connected in my brain, and I've stayed away from acting because actually I'm staying away from that entire emotional experience.
Have you ever tried to face it? No.
Tried to face what?
The situation. You stayed away from it.
No, I didn't stay away from it. I dealt with it then. I just think just now, directing and it have become all, it's like how one moment can eclipse everything else.
Agreed.
Like, I went to LA, I had 2 weeks of great meetings, but then on the last day I got everything that I had stolen. And so now the whole 2 weeks are suddenly tinged by this one event. And you forget about everything else that happened because this one like fault line, like this earthquake that happened, pushes through and makes everything else unsteady. Similarly about the play, I was directing, yes, and as a way of I guess now directing for me has this, association with like pain, even though it's like Pavlovian almost. It's like the dogs, you ring the bell and the dog starts salivating.
Yeah.
You talk about directing and I'm like, no, it's horrible. But really it's about the other event, yeah.
Right. Okay, so you stayed away from the directing part of it and you're planning to anytime soon?
I don't know.
You'll see.
Yeah.
Right now you're focused on the work that you've been doing and like we mentioned, Ye Ballet on Netflix.
It's on Netflix, yeah.
Right? A film.
It's a film, yeah.
It's a film. And you want to tell us about your part in it?
I'm the guy that runs the like dance studio where the two kids come to learn how to dance, and I've hired this like white guy, Saul Aaron, who's come from the States, and he's this Israeli ballet dancer, male.
Ballet dancer. Okay.
And he starts teaching these two boys, and then the film is about their families, their backgrounds, the fact that they're both of fairly low socioeconomic status, and kind of the troubles that they face in their houses and in their communities, and how the troubles they face dealing with this like extremely grouchy, very taskmaster-ish ballet teacher, Saul Aaron. Mine is not a particularly big, but I can add it as punctuation every now and then.
Is that what you want to do?
Mine is not a particularly big, every time I say a bad word, mine is not a big part, but I like Suni. I've known her for many years. I think my dad's dentist is her husband.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You know the reason I'm asking you that, okay, I won't use the word.
Tell me.
But the reason I'm asking you that is because we're often judged or put into a certain category depending on the way we look, the way we talk, etc., and that affects the kind of roles we get.
Well, basically, just now we're at a place in time which is kind of post-truth, all right? We don't have any idea of like what truth is anymore because there's so many divergent facts, and the rate that science is developing is faster than like the questions we can ask to a certain extent. So we don't know what's right and wrong anymore in the same way. And then added to that, most people in general just believe what they see. So they have no imagination beyond the things that they've seen before. Right. And in a very market-driven commercial world, you have to make quote-unquote bankable choices. And the best bankable choices along the lines of the fact that most people have no imagination. They want to get the same thing over and over again. That's why McDonald's and Starbucks and, all of these things like, fucking vada pav or whatever, it's all the same. They want something stable, similar, comforting. It's easier like that. If somebody starts inventing some new street snack and on the street is like they're cooking it up and no one has ever heard of it, they'll go to the vada pav most likely. Until that becomes normal, until enough people go there, So like, I think that's my whole take on the entire thing.
Yeah. Fairly good.
I don't know.
No, I think it is. So all right, I wanted to know.
Imagination and understanding. Nobody tries to understand anything. Not really. It's like someone will see, someone sent me like a message recently being like, hey, I'm no longer a fan of you. My mother was traveling from Delhi to Mumbai and she asked for a photo and she's a big fan, not anymore, in brackets. And you were so snobbish. And why don't you work on your personality and the way you act better as much as you work on your face and your hair? And I was like, well, firstly, I don't work on my face and my hair at all. So there's that. And then secondly, it's kind of like, thank you for your feedback, but did you try to understand why I might have been in the mood that I'm in? Maybe I'm late.
Right.
Maybe it's early. Maybe I've just done 10 in a row and I've like quickly got away from the 11th. Who can know what it is?
Sure.
Why in general do we have this time of like absolutely no understanding? What would my understanding of this woman be? She wants to make it known to me that I upset her mother. She is defending her mother, right? She thinks it is like it's a good thing for her to do and to like get the message to me, and maybe I'll learn something or I'll change my ways in some way or the other. And so I can understand what she's doing, but she's gone out of her way to insult somebody and I don't even remember who her mother was. That's the thing. So now, it's this kind of thing of like, and I guess it becomes more with public figures. I don't know. I guess you just have to do what you have to do.
No, I agree.
And know that people will take it in a different way than you possibly intended it. And so similarly, because of no imagination, because of no understanding, because of no like sitting with somebody across from the table and seeing what they actually are as opposed to what they did in one thing. Nobody has the time.
Nobody has the time. Okay. And the films or the shows that you're coming up with now, anything in the pipeline?
Yeah, Made in Heaven Season 2 is going to shoot.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Amazing.
That would be cool.
I love that show.
Cool.
I loved you in that show.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And then Tesh should release sometime. April, May,
Okay.
June. I don't know. Tesh is Bijoy Nambiar's next project.
Okay.
And it's cool. It's cool. I feel like I can already kind of see how the feedback is going to go, just purely like story-wise. I don't know how the whole film as a whole will be received at all. I'm very bad at being
Gauging
able
that.
to gauge that stuff. Other people can, but I don't have a clue. I'm like, I don't know. Is it good? I think all I can see is like my mistake, my other mistake, my mistake there. I took too long there. Why did I take that pause? You're show acting. Stop show acting. Oh, okay. This part is not bad. This part is not bad. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus. And it's a bit like that.
So you do give yourself some critical feedback.
Yeah.
Constructive feedback.
I mean, I don't know.
Do you watch your stuff enough or just like the one time and that's done?
Not too many times if possible.
Makes sense.
Yeah. It's too painful. It's like,
is it?
God, this is horrible.
Does it usually turn out the way you imagined it when you're doing a character?
Sometimes. Yeah. Lots is out of your hands.
Okay.
That's a bit weird. That's one of the biggest differences between the film acting and theater acting is that on stage I'm my own editor,
Right.
I can choose which part I want to put where. And film you're not. And sometimes that's good and you're improved or you're tightened up or whatever, and sometimes you're like, oh my God, how could I have acted so badly?
So you do question yourself then. Okay. Made in Heaven 2 sounds interesting.
Yahoo!
Yeah. And I'm asking you, what is the one probable thing that you may have learned from a co-star of yours? Anyone?
So many things.
Yeah, so anything you'd like to throw light upon? A story, a situation?
Yeah, the first day on set with Ranveer, he was, I was messing up a lot. The first day, I was like, just messing everything up the whole day. And he just sat there patiently the whole time. Never even gave me one of those like, oh, come on, buddy, looks, like, come on, just get it. It's hot. I have to sit in this dua for the whole day. Give me a break. No, he never did any of that. I learned a lot about being a generous co-actor that day. For example, many things to learn.
Sweet. All right. You want to take the break on that
Let's
note?
take a break.
Okay. And then come back to where?
Hey everybody, welcome to another amazing week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money and HDFC Life. Remember, sponsors make these shows possible. Do show them your appreciation. And if you own a brand or work for a brand or are associated with a brand and think that brand would benefit from working with IVM, do reach out to us. You can find contact information on our website. Also, just a very quick note, I would really appreciate it if you guys could fill out a really short survey on our website. It's on ivmpodcast.com/survey. It's just a brand recognition survey for us to kind of work with the advertisers and give them some data. So it's a very short, less than 1 minute survey. Really appreciate your help in filling it out. So people, we have a new show releasing this week. It's called Begin the Journey. It's hosted by national award-winning film actor and motivational speaker Ashish Vidyarthi. He shares inspiring stories from various aspects of life. Stay tuned. First episode comes out on Monday, the 2nd of March. This is a bumper week on Paisa Vaisa. We have 2 very special episodes for you. As part of our regular series, Anupam talks with Suresh Kelly about retirement financial planning. And we have a special bonus episode where Anupam talks to Amit Gupta, who is a portfolio manager at Adroit Financial Solutions, about the SBI card IPO. On the Filter Coffee podcast, Karthik is joined by the CEO of Wavemaker Polska, Pavel Gala, to talk about the advertising industry. On Simplified, Chuck, Naren and Tony talk about universal basic income. On Geek Fruit, Dinkar and Jishnu are joined by Antariksh, the producer of the show, to talk about the long and illustrious career of Jim Carrey. On Beyond Cliché, Almas is joined by Dr. Sadaf Ulde. She shares her journey of choosing a profession beyond prejudice. On Paperback, the host of Edges and Sledges, Dhananjay Chuck, gets in a conversation with Satyajit and Racheta about his podcast, cricketers, and stories that have stayed with him. On Football Report, Karthik Sivarama and Gaurav talk about Liverpool's losing to Atletico and give their predictions for the second leg of the Champions League. On Golgappa, Trupti is joined by Lakshmi, host of Litnama. They talk about literature, books, and more. On The Traveling Professor's Diary, host Siddharth introduces us to an idea called the distributed MBA. On GBCD, Farad and Sunetro talk about long-distance relationships and how it can be or cannot be sustained in this age of Tinder and Hinge. On our Kannada podcast, Thalle Harate, Gautam Shenoy talks about time travel stories, books, and series with Ganesh and Pawan. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
And we're back.
Yeah, and we're back on the Empowering series, talking about things we shouldn't talk about.
Empowerment.
Yeah, well, you tell me, what's up?
You tell me what's up with you. Teach me some of your emotional intelligence tricks. I mean, deep knowledge.
No, I'm not teaching anything.
Hey, please teach now one thing.
I don't.
What do you do in this? How do you do this life coaching thing? Tell me, show me some steps. I am slightly disillusioned with the state of affairs in the world.
Right.
And I'm kind of I kind of only want to do a project now if my heart is really in it.
Mm-hmm.
How do I attract this? How do I get this?
Well, emotional intelligence is not about attraction.
Oh, what is it about?
It's about acknowledging emotions like you mentioned earlier.
That's what I...
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So you're already emotionally intelligent.
Oh, Jesus.
But
in that case, I'm...
You wanted to know? You're emotionally intelligent.
No. Oh, okay.
I'm telling you, you are.
Thanks.
Yeah, very much. I want to just take a minute here and first thank my friend Dibya for making this happen, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dibya, hey Dibya, shout out to you.
Yeah, big shout out to you because this was very random and it was some moment where we just landed up bumping into each other at Soho House and this happened. So thank you, Dibya.
That's right.
Yeah?
Dibya, without you,
this wouldn't have happened. Yeah, well, okay. You've done a lot of international work?
Not
work
a lot.
Around the world?
I acted in theater in Atlanta for a year,
Mm-hmm.
and then I acted in 2 plays in New York, but like off Broadway.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just did, I did this one film called The Wedding Guest,
Okay.
which had Radhika Apte and Dave Patel in it,
Mm-hmm.
and had an international release. And then a couple films have gone to like Rotterdam and film festivals around.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was cool. Jonaki, which is a Bengali film. And then this other film called Teen or Radha. Have you watched both these films?
No.
Oh, maybe if you had, you wouldn't ask me about stereotyping. And then...
Stop.
well, maybe
Don't
if
use that word.
Maybe if you just watched a bit
Don't
more...
use that word.
A bit more of the films instead of just the main hits, the big commercial ones.
I haven't watched your hit films, by
Jonaki
the
went to
way.
Rotterdam. Teen or Radha went all over. I think also to Rotterdam. It was fun. No, not to Rotterdam. They went to some other places. And then I just acted in a short film called Sometimes I Think About Dying. And that played at Sundance. And then it got selected for the Shorts Tour. And then it got shortlisted for the Oscars this year.
Wow.
But we did not make the final 5. We made the 10. We didn't make the 5. The 10, though, not bad.
Not bad at all.
And they're going to do the feature version of the film later this year, around August time. I think they got producers, so that's good. The short film is just beautiful. I don't know if you've got a chance to watch it. It's just so lovely. It's like well made and You really feel like you get to know this woman that is the main character, and she meets this guy named Robert, who I'm playing, in the office, and we start a kind of little like romancy thing. You should watch it. You should give it a watch if you can. And they've converted it into a feature script, and I'm quite excited to do it. Yeah, I'm quite excited about it.
And when is that rolling out? Feature script?
I think they're only gonna shoot it in August.
So there's time.
They're trying to make Sundance for next year. So if we get it done in August, I think they'll be able to have it all edited up.
Right.
By like late October, which I think is deadline submissions for Sundance.
That's pretty cool.
I'm excited about that one. I'm excited about Made in Heaven Season 2 coming out.
Yes.
I'm excited about Gangubai.
Gangubai, yes.
I have a small role in Gangubai, which is Sanjay Leela Bhansali's next, one of your A-listers. And
I'm not using that.
There's another A-lister in the film, Alia Bhatt. So I'm quite excited to work with her.
I don't really care about it.
I think she's the best just now. I think she's the best of the like...
yeah, you like her work?
I think she's the best. I think she's just so good. She makes such interesting choices, and I believe her throughout, and I really enjoy her performances. So I'm excited to act with her.
Okay. That's interesting. So you have all these things coming up. My question to you is, when people are out working and doing stuff, they usually have a moment where they suddenly hit a lot of success, or suddenly everybody knows them too much, and then they have to handle fame. That's a word people use around us very often. Do you have anything to say to people about that word, or about, in general, how does one deal with growing up the ladder, doing a lot of stuff, good stuff?
I had a friend named John one time. We were talking about fame in general, and, I've always been kind of predisposed to wanting it to an extent, and I don't think he is in the same way. Because he said, well, what is being famous? Do you know who Harmony Korine is? And I was like, no, back then. He was like, well, he's made some amazing movies in the States, and he's played all over the place.
Right.
And I didn't know who he was. So it becomes like, what's the nature of it? What kind of it do you want? I think we've all been led to believe it's only one kind, but I don't think it is. It's like all kinds. There's all kinds even within that bracket. But I know that sometimes it feels good. People notice you, you get things, you can take photos.
Right.
And sometimes you want to just walk around in the street in your own world. You don't want to be talking to everybody that walks past, and that if you ignore them, then you're considered rude. And it's like, I just want to walk listening to music. I don't want to stop and say hello to everyone. And if it's, yeah, so that can also be can just get a bit trying, but I'm not that famous, so it doesn't matter.
No, I'm asking you your take on it.
My take on fame in general?
Yeah.
I mean, it does affect you. It's like you dance with the devil, you change. The devil doesn't. So fame is in a way a kind of devil, is a kind of demon, and you just have to, I don't know. I mean, just dancing with it, I guess you have to know when to take your breaks, or you have to know how to, don't always be like grinding up against it. You know what I mean? Like give it some space. Yeah.
Yeah. I think fame is fleeting. It's not something that always stays, but craft is constant in a way. If you're crafty, you can find your way to balance that out.
Yeah, I think
but
so.
But fame is, it's...
Even craft, it changes. And another director said to me once that he said, your craft, it's not like when you're 40, you'll be a far superior actor than you were when you were 20, 21, 22. The thing that'll change is your emotional understanding for the capacity for human weakness. And I was like, okay.
Your emotional capacity for human weakness.
No, your emotional understanding of the capacity of human weakness.
Understanding. Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep.
So, it may not even be about staying crafty. Yes, staying crafty, of course, but just basically trying to understand what makes people more.
Yeah. Do you think that's changing with times currently? I mean, people aren't getting the kind of tangible or physical importance they must get? Little conversations, a little eye contact, those kind of things?
I don't know. I just feel like as more people continue to live in bigger places, you know, like one of the first things you kind of have to learn in a city is that you can't care about everybody. It's impossible. So it's not like a village, you know, where like you understand that I see him every day on the walk past in the morning. I know everything. I know everything about who goes to his house, about who leaves his house, about when he comes home, about what he's doing. I actually know him because there's only 40 people to know, really. Or like 35 people to know and their kids, you know. So then there's a kind of like living, breathing thing. So then, you know, like when they say it takes a village to praise or it takes a village to grieve, you can grieve with everybody. You can praise with everybody. Your little success feels good to me because I actually know you.
Sure.
Whereas in a city, you meet so many thousands and thousands of people all the time. How do you recreate that sense of a village in your city so you can actually do all of the things that you were saying, which is the like little conversations, and you have to make time with your friends, you have to make time with your family, you have to keep re-engaging with this thing because it's so easy to hold yourself up in a room and watch Netflix all day.
It is.
Or whatever else, you know. So you have to make that part of your day.
That's interesting.
I think.
Yeah, you have to make that part of your day because people don't do that anymore. It's, you don't find it very often. Even friends, even family, they have difficulty in removing time from their daily lives and they say, we don't have the time. But then that's all you have.
Sorry, I just got a couple of messages.
What are you got? No, because I'm talking.
I'm teasing you. No, I'm teasing you. That's the problem is people are like, oh, let me just check my phone.
Yeah, that's what they do. Yeah.
That was the joke.
I got it. I laughed also.
Oh shit, but Jim. I do have some messages.
Do you want to check them? I'll just shut up for 2 minutes. Yeah, but our listeners want to know.
Yeah.
Who is Jim?
Who is Jim? I don't know. I think it's an ongoing process. There are some people who are like, this is who I am. And I think that's cool. That's amazing that you figured it out. That's so great. I'm sure the picture of who is me is being painted to other people's eyes better than what I can see. You know, it's always easier to see someone be like, oh, this is what that guy is. He's the you know, sandal guy. And then, you know, and I like, if I have a day off, I like watching things. I like reading. I like going for walks if I can. It's a bit harder.
It's a bit harder because...
I like playing sports.
Okay.
Basketball, football.
Wow.
Started a little jiu-jitsu class. I'm not very good, but it's fun. It's really, like, intuitive. I like moving my body around, you know. I like being able to move around. I just finished watching Succession, which is probably the best show I've seen in a long time. Oh, my God, it's so good. They're all so good.
Really?
Yeah, there's one line... It smells like the cheesemonger died with his in the brie. This is one thing talking about like how bad something smells. It's just so funny. At one point, the guy's like, "I don't think I should talk to Logan. I don't think he likes me very much." No, what do you mean, Tom? He loves you. One time, he called me the of Monte Cristo. It's just so
I have
funny.
to watch this now.
They're just zingers, and they go so fast you'd miss them because they're not like this is a joke now. It's just like. They're really, really good. He has syphilis. Syphilis is like the invisible disease. It's like the MySpace of venereal diseases. So good. For example, these are some of the lines in the show.
But you do remember lines that...
Sometimes
easily?
I even write them down.
Really?
Yeah, because if I like the line a lot, I want to remember it. So,
see, that's something people wouldn't know about Jim.
Right? Probably not.
And that's something new.
But I'm also pretty good at saying it a couple times and remembering it. Like if yeah, pretty good.
So it's not hard for you to remember your lines then?
I mean, I did a play in December on the 1st at the NCPA called Seawall, which is a 35-minute monologue. It's about 15 pages of just text straight in a row. And that was a nerve-wracking
15
experience.
pages?
Yeah, just 15 pages of pretty complicated text in a row.
Wow.
There's a line, he used to try to convince me that the number which is commonly and historically and internationally known as pi, that is to 5 decimal places, the number 0.34157, is irrevocable proof of the existence of God. So that whole thing with all the little shifts in gear is like one sentence.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, okay.
That's madness.
But then you kind of lock into it. Once you get it, you kind of like lock into the system, and then you just have to trust that the next line will come. And if you think about it, it definitely will pop out of your head.
And the idea of improvising on stage?
I wouldn't, in this play, it's written so beautifully that I wouldn't want to add one single word. If possible, I wouldn't even want to change a comma. Because
That's beautiful.
It's just written so well by itself. Instead, you just follow the roadmap of the words and of the punctuation, because the words and the punctuation, if it's written by a really good writer, then the whole performance is just there. You should pause only at the place where there's the comma. Otherwise, it throws off the balance of the line. And it's necessary. And when you understand the thought behind why it's written like that, you're like, why would I change it? This is better. This is best. This person knows what he's written very, very clearly. He knows the effect that one uninterrupted sentence will have upon you. It makes you work.
Right.
And once you work, everything starts pumping a little bit, and you start to feel things no matter what you're doing, just because you have to push through all the way to the end of the sentence that is coming somewhere further along, and you can see it, but you have to just keep going until you get there.
Sure.
Like that.
Interesting. Fascinating, actually.
And then, of course, the trick becomes that you have to manage your breath in a way that once you get to the end, that doesn't mean you trail off. You know, it means it means that once you get to the end, it doesn't mean you trail off. You go all the way to the end of the sentence.
To the end of it, yes.
And ideally, if you can get it to be, the rule on stage is one breath for every sentence. So the weight of and she did is the same as, a longer sentence.
With no example there.
Yeah.
But and she did, yes. So you just enunciate and end it as crisply as you started something.
Well, you just don't lose energy over the course of the sentence. You don't lose the meaning. And I think a lot of actors like to do this to an extent, which is to sound realistic. They end up like dropping the ends of the sentences.
Oh, yeah?
So yeah, as they say, it's like, I told you now. Why are you going there? As opposed to, why are you going there? I told you, na?
Right.
I told you, na? And if it needs to be soft, it can still be soft. It's just not about losing steam halfway through the sentence and dropping. Because then the effect you're having also on your co-actor and the audience is, which is annoying. After a while, you're just like, I want to just sit back and have the experience wash over me.
Right.
And also, when it's a co-actor, and if, like, let's say we have 2 lines where I have to say, why did you do that? And you have to be like, I don't know. Okay. And the way it's written in the script is, why did you do that? ? I don't know, ! Okay. So you have to say, I don't know. Okay. When I ask, why did you do that?
Okay.
Huh? Ready? Why did you do that?
I don't know.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
Right. It got harder to do the exclamation,
Yeah.
right? But if I'm like, why did you do that?
I don't know.
Why did you do that?
I don't know.
Why did you do that?
Now I'm screaming.
Whatever it has to, you can just go where it has to go.
True.
As opposed to, why did you do that?
Yeah.
You're like, oh God, now I have to pick the energy back up in
Right.
order to scream. You didn't make my life easy at all, co-actor.
Exactly.
As opposed to throwing something with enough power that you don't have to use too much power to hit it, to get it out. If I rolled it along the floor and it's scripted that you have to hit a 6, man, it's impossible for you. How are you going to do it? You will look fake.
True.
You will look like you're putting in unnecessary effort. You'll look like a fool. So I think that's like, a lot of the times people read only their lines and learn only their lines, when actually you should know the effect your line has upon the other person, and you should provoke that effect. So if it is to make you feel, pumped up, it would be like, why did you do that? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I help you get there already. You know,
Yeah.
if I'm like, why did you do that? And you have to be like, I don't know. I mean, it can still work. Anything can work. It just depends
True.
on like your sensitivity of being able to handle it. I don't mean you need to decide their emotional response. I'm just saying you can ask with an energy that'll provoke some version of I don't know with an exclamation mark.
Sure.
Some version. Does not have to be the one version that you want to provoke. It just has to be something that allows you to exclaim easier than, why did you do that?
So it actually sets the tone of that particular piece,
I
the
think-
dialogue.
Yeah, I think it just makes the conversation more like a duet or like a musical piece, you know? Like if I have to do ra-ra-dun-dun-dun, and then you have to do bam-bam, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
If I go ra-ra-dun-dun-dun, ba-ba, it's not the same as opposed to ra-ra-dun-dun-dun, ba-ba. You know,
It should
just that.
sync. It should sync.
It should just be the thing that leads to the next thing.
True.
And if you're doing this thing right, it'll organically lead to this next thing. The other person won't have to think, how will I take it to this emotional place? You've provided the impetus for the emotional place yourself.
Right.
Then the whole scene becomes more alive because it feels like two people actually developing something together as opposed to, one person doing all the effort.
But that's important counsel for people who are actually in performing spaces. They should actually go ahead and read what's next and whose line is next so that they can understand.
Yeah, it's
That's
basic
important
stuff,
counsel.
But like somehow it doesn't happen.
Doesn't, but it should. If people are listening to this, listen to Jim. Why did you do that?
I don't know.
All right, Jim, coming to the last segment of this conversation. What empowers Jim?
The belief that one day we will be able to clone dinosaurs and I'll be able to fuse my consciousness with a dinosaur and the two of us will be able to ride through the plains as a happy unit. This is the dream that I carry in my heart and I hope to eventually be a part of. And if that is not going to happen, then I might as well just give up hope and commit suicide right now today.
You don't want to say that to my listeners.
Do not commit suicide, guys.
Any counsel or words of wisdom for people in general? I haven't seen you laughing that much. Why are you not wise? Words of wisdom. That's why I said, words of wisdom.
Drink more water.
All right. On that note, thank you so much, Jim. I don't think you've been empowered as much as we have on this particular episode.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for making it, and thank you for probably giving your longest standing interview ever.
I was sitting.
Sorry, then I will repeat that. Thank you for giving your longest seated interview ever. If you liked this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram.
Do you wish you were smarter? Well, so do we. But the next best thing?
We could make you sound smarter.
And to help you with this endeavor, we are Simplified, a podcast that attempts to break down the complex world around you with a little knowledge, a lot of poor jokes, and a ton of random trivia.
Episodes out every Monday.
On the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.
See ya!
Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Don Bradman, and now Cyrus Brocha. Okay, probably not in the right company. I mean, Don Bradman is Australian. But it's called Cyrus Says, a wonderful show about everything. Find the show on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Cyrus Says is brought to you by Storytel.